Welcome. What's good, everybody? How we doing today? My bad. The Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Long day so far already, but we got plenty to get into because we've got 4 games on the NBA slate here on Thursday. Probably scheduling stuff a little bit differently so that they don't overlap too much with Thursday Night Football with too many of these good games, but see a lot of stuff in the comments already. I have not put a play down yet. It's a small slate, a little bit weird, but we should probably go a bit in order because I want to make sure we get to NFL too. So people have their NFL stuff. We could throw that in. But I know we have a lot in the NBA. So good to see you guys in here already. Youngin got plenty of bets as always. Appreciate you, man. AD, John Collins, Jay Randall. What's up, Nate? Salute. Franz. Yeah, threes tonight. That could be a look. D'Lo assists. They are low. I noticed that. They're low. 4.5 plus money is probably a pretty good look for D'Lo assists. So I like where your head's at in this game tonight against Orlando. Tough matchup on defense. They're slow as hell. So that's been keeping me from kind of betting too many overs just yet on that Orlando and LA game because I'm not quite sure how that might look. It's a low total. It's 216.5. And the LA has slowed things down. They're not playing quite as fast. So keep that in mind. Champagny got 4+ rebounds or the 6.5 RA. We can look at that for Champagny. I'm going to start writing some of this stuff down so I don't forget. But I just want to run through, see what everybody's got here. Grant Will, under 1.5 from Chris. What's up, bro? Good to see you, Free Sauce, one of the VIP cappers in the Discord. What's up, TR? Another VIP member. Good to see you, man. We want to look at Castle. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Brandon Miller, you got a under on his 3. That's a lot of threes. You parlayed it with the Steelers plus 3.5. Maybe that's an alt line because they're minus 3.5, right? Still, I think that's still the line for them. But yeah, that's if you got that, that's what's up. LaMelo over 8 first quarter points. You could get a fast start. Yeah, I want to look at that Detroit game. Youngin also wants to look at Cunningham. Let's see. I don't know. Thank God I didn't have a bet on him last night. He's not super reliable right now. Is Scottie Pippen Jr. So he's not someone I'm looking to bet on too quickly, even though he's the starting point guard right now. Desmond Bane's kind of doing everything as well as Jaren Jackson Jr. So he kind of takes a back seat a lot. Chris Paul double. Yeah, let's see what those odds are. Let me start writing these down and then I'll put them up on the up next. I'll start sharing my screen. For now, let me also remind y'all that are jumping in. If you're new here, go ahead and jump in the comments with a bet as you kind of see everybody else doing. Put that up right now. We had a good night last night. We've had a good night the last 3 nights. Tuesday was rough. I mean, we lost 1 unit, so I say rough, but like in the grand scheme, it was fine. On the week, though, up 4.77 units. So feeling really good about where we're at on the season, up 14.5. Also really good. Or is it 13.5? Somewhere around there. Player props alone, we're crushing it. So feeling good about this. Hope you guys are hitting some of these bets that we're coming up with out here too. Let's see. Let's put up some of this stuff that you got. I'm going to run through the comments right now. So give me 1 sec. I'm just going to get this and we'll move on. All right. AD PRA was a look. Let's see. And then John Collins. Put JC. PR is the look, and then Jay Randall is a look. Let's see, you had D'Lo assist was from Nate as well, so I'm gonna take a look at that. 3.5 dimes. I'll look at the assist for D'Lo, and then we had Champagny. Let's just put Champagny in there. I'm gonna put the you got the rebounds, right? Yeah, let's look at the rebounds. We can consider the assists, but I think Castle and Chris Paul are going to be taking a lot of these dimes, so I'm not too into that idea. I think Castle on the assist is probably the look. I know TR put in the PA or the points, but I'll put PA so we look at both of them. Let me see here. And the Brandon Miller under 3s is a look. B Miller. Yeah, that 3-point defense for Detroit is good for sure. Under 3.5, 3 p.m. All right. Putting B Miller in there. LaMelo on the first quarter points. We can. I have to look at that. Let's put first quarter points in there, and I'll see what's up with that. Yeah, this game. I don't know if y'all saw the weather yet, but the weather is nasty. Like 36 degrees. They were trying to unfreeze that thing already today. So that's how we're gonna play. I mean, there's still value to be found in the NFL game if you're looking to use the weather to your advantage, right? I'm not saying maybe we go George Pickens 100+ receiving yards. Maybe that's not how we take advantage of it. But we could fade some people. Problem is like, what do you do with Nick Chubb versus Jerome Ford? Is Nick Chubb gonna get usage? I personally think if you guys saw the video I put out for NFL today, I personally think Nick Chubb is a 2025 back. I don't know that he's going to come back and look like Nick Chubb this season. So I'm not sure I'm ready for that. But let me put a few more in here. We got Chris Paul as well. The double-double was the look. And then we also, basically just putting this Spurs lineup in here because we got to look for Keldon Johnson as well from the Real DeBow. What's up, bro? So I've got CP3. I'm going to look at PA for him in addition to everything. We can look at Keldon. Keldon was the points. Look at that. And then, what's up, JK? Good to have you in here, man. I love the picture. I think you changed it up. That's fire. Gang, got more homies in here. What's up, Street Cred? What does units mean? All right, great question. Real quick, what does units mean? Units are basically the measurement that each individual uses to describe how much they're putting on a bet. So if you're someone who bets $100 as your average, most common bet size, then that would be 1 unit for you is $100. So if someone who bets $5,000 on a bet is saying they put in 1 unit, that just lets you know the sort of confidence that they have in the bet. They said 1 unit is their normal bet size. So for that person, it's 5,000. If you say 1 unit and you bet $100 average, then you're going to say my 1 unit is $100. If you're betting 5 units, you're betting $500. It sort of indicates the level of confidence you have in a bet, right? So units is just one way to talk about how much you're betting without saying the actual dollar amount. You're saying in a unit size, how much you're betting to sort of convey the confidence, and maybe you have reasons for it, whatever. Barrett is another look. Let's see. RJ, and let me know if you have any questions like that. Happy to answer some quick stuff like that if you want to know things. That's also what the VIP and free Discord honestly is about, is learning stuff. There's plenty of good people in there. Barrett, yeah, if Scotty's in, Barrett under points. I don't know if Barrett under points, if Scotty's coming in, he might still be looking to dime up. That's kind of predominantly what he does. But RJ at 22.5 does seem kind of high without quickly, though. Let's look at it. Let's look at what Barrett does if he's in. So we'll take a look at that. Barrett points. We can see kind of how he plays in this exact situation. Yeah, John Collins for sure. Yeah, we got him on here in the PR. I think he's going to be a good look. I like betting on John Collins in a lot of ways. So Miles Bridges on the 3s. Is he still questionable? I'll put Miles in here, but I think he's still questionable. He does have props up, so not like he's necessarily out yet. Browns cover. I like this Hoodridge Jojo. Browns cover the spread with 2 3s for Champagny. I like that randomness, but I like where your head's at. Let's well, I'll put the NFL bets in here too. I do want to make sure we get to the NBA games that start before the NFL game, and then I'll mix in the NFL stuff here. But let's see what we got. Scrolling down, there's a lot in here already. So I got a decent list. Let's see. We got one more look for Jay Randall on the boards. We can look at Jay Randall. That's from Free Sauce as well. Yeah, Jalen Warren could be a look too. We'll get there. All right, we'll get there. Is Scott? We don't have official news though, right? For Scotty, just that he's questionable still, right? If anything comes out for Scotty Bonds, let me know. Oh yeah, we got to put our boy in here. Connect. Hit him last time for the VIPs, which was a really nice bet to have because other than that, we probably would have lost 2 units that day. PR, and he was even money. Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to look at Connect, and the thing I want to look at with Connect is so if Rui's back, so what? How do you keep Connect off the floor at this point? I'm putting up what we got coming up next here on the upcoming stuff. Let me update that real quick. Hopefully this is easy to read the way that I did it today. Connect PR just fit, so we just got it in. That's what she said. So here's what we're going to be looking at. AD PRA, JC PR. Jay Randall was the Rebs. Looks like I might have him in here twice. My bad. Let me take him out up here. We'll keep him down low. And then we got the Champagny rebounds. We got Castle PA. All right, so let's see real quick as y'all keep jumping in. Also, Jalen Duran on a double-double feels too obvious, but it is something. It's just his minutes that are a little bit wonky at times. So he got 10 boards here, but he played 18 minutes. And if we let's look at the PR together. But this was what I was looking at before we came on, started the show today. Just because I'm not sharing my screen. I caught it before anybody could say anything, right? I just caught it. All right. Let me share my screen. Haha. Can't get nothing by this pothead. All right. Sharing that. Clackety clack. All right. Play a props. Let me get this going. All right. And that's not how small I want to be. And that's not how big I want to be. Let's go right here. All right. So that was for Jalen Duran. The double-double is minus 105. That's still considered an EV bet. If we open up Outlier, one of the nice things too about Outlier is they will show you an EV bet based on this person's past performances compared to what this line is at, etc. So it's kind of what I do when I bring up the baby model that I talk about sometimes, where I make you guys do math real quick and we kind of go back to college for a minute and I show you how to make sure you're getting the best value on your bets for the price that you're getting it at. That's what this tool is sometimes doing automatically when it denotes a EV bet. So double minus 105, expected value is plus. So what do people mean when they say EV plus? All it really means is you're taking this dude's past performances over whatever sample size you're using, and you're saying at this price of minus 105, bet this every time you get it. Don't even worry about context. Don't worry about who he's playing. Don't worry about almost anything. Obviously, if you know he's on a minutes restriction, fine. You can make your own calls. But EV plus means if you just blindly hit this every single time, over time, this is going to make you money. So it is telling you that like this is a smart bet if you just want to play it very consistently. And that's what we're looking for when we say EV bets is like, if I just do this over and over and over and over again, am I likely to do it? Am I likely to win? Last thing I'll say, just to get off my soapbox, is an easy way to think about it is if you roll a dice, right, or a die, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on it. Well, if you roll it, you're just as likely to get the same number every time. But if I put 2 ones on there, now my odds to hit the 1 just more than doubled essentially, right? And so that now means if I bet 1 blindly every time, I'm going to win money over time as I keep rolling that die. The averages are going to come out so that I'm going to hit 1 way more often than I hit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I add 2 ones to that die, make it 2 out of 7. So you kind of get what I'm saying. This is a bet that we kind of have 2 ones on the die, if you want to think of it that way. That's what the EV means. It's fishy to me. I think there's probably better stuff. Let me get into a couple other things from this game so that I can feel more comfortable that I've exhausted my other bets possibilities before I bet on Jalen Duren. That's another good little simple tip. But put your bets down on a piece of paper, come back to them. Don't need to just bet it right away as you see. And you're like, this is perfect. Well, there might be something you're missing. If it feels too good to be true, sometimes it might be. And we're going, this is Charlotte with no center. Jalen Duren should eat. Well, I mean, I know he got hurt last time, but it's not like he was even doing anything in his 8 minutes that he was out there. He had the 3 boards. My bad. I guess I should give him more credit than that. But yeah, I don't know. I also don't trust his offense too much unless he's catching lobs, as we know from Cade Cunningham. So let's look at LaMelo. The first look was for his first quarter points, but we can look at everything. No, I'll get into his first quarter stuff now. The first thing I'm always looking at with first quarter stuff is how many minutes is he playing, right? So I need to know that he's getting the minutes. And honestly, I'd like to know the usage and stuff like that, which I can find on props.cash. But I'll start with outlier.bet. Let's bring up LaMelo. Reason I usually start with props.cash or outlier instead of going right to props.cash, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, is because they do give us, they're more likely to have the correct line pulled through. So if I pull up, I don't want his rebounds, but I'm just going into him. So first quarter points, 6.5 is still plus money. I think the call out was for like 8+, right? So you might be taking an alt line here if I'm guessing right, but I don't even see a 7.5. So this is at 6.5 at this point. Plus 112 is a nice number. So we can see he's averaging 7. That's nice. And he's got a median number of 7.5. So this is all good. The 7 is a trustable average number for him. The problem with outlier.bet is I can't see the more broken down supporting stats, like how many shots is he taking, how many I guess anything else you want to see. How many free throws is he taking? How many threes is he taking? If I want to see supporting stats here, it's not as easy. So that is why I bring up props.cash in these situations, is because this is really above the other things. What props.cash has more than any other book is the ability to break down stuff by the first quarter. So if I go to LaMelo and I go to first quarter up here, and I'm going to pull up 24-25 for this season. So 7.5 isn't right. I know that number is too high. So I'm going to go down to 6.5. and see what that looks like. So I just put this down here where it says alt line. I hit the arrow down to get it to 6.5. And now you can see, I see his minutes are 7.5 on the season in the first quarter. I also see his usage rate. I don't know if this is getting the first quarter or the whole game, to be honest, because I know rebound chances is pulling through the whole game. I think usage is for the quarter though, because this is accurate on NBA stats. So usage 34.3. That's a high usage, obviously, and that's pretty much what it is for the game. He's taking essentially a third of his team's shots in the first quarter, and that amounts to about 5 per game. So 5 shots per game. How many of them are threes? 2.5 are threes. So half his shots are from deep, and we need him to get 7 points, right? So what we need him to shoot, if he takes 5 shots, we need him to hit 2 twos and a 3. Go 3 for 5. It's a pretty high percentage. He's done it. How many times did we say? 50%. Yes, he's right at 50%. I don't know that there's much of a play here. To be honest, I mean, if we put this in the baby model, it's going to tell us to do it just based on this year's sample size. It's going to say he's averaging 7. You're getting plus money for him to get 7. Why wouldn't you take him to do it? No, on the season, he's not averaging that. Okay, so that's why it wouldn't tell us. My bad. I was looking at the last 10, but if you put this on the whole season, his first 4 games, 5 of his first 6 games, and technically 6 of his first 8 games, he went under this number, had 0 a couple times. Kind of scares, I guess. And Miami, Atlanta, Toronto, bad defenses, teams he should score against. Detroit, he went under last time. What did he do against Detroit? Let me pull up this Detroit one, which game is that? Man, which game was Detroit? My bad. It was on the 6th. So Detroit, specifically in the first quarter on the 6th, which is right here, where he had 4 points. He played 6.2 minutes in that quarter. So he got taken out pretty early compared to what he normally does. Usage was high, but yeah, I mean, his stuff was down in that game big time. So I don't know. I mean, I have to go back and look into that game a little bit more. It's not quite worth it for me where he's at. I see what you're saying, but like, it's not something I'm going to be playing based on like just what his averages are at. I don't have anything to give me an edge over like we took Joel first quarter points yesterday. This is an example of why I would take a first quarter bet. Joel just got called out in the media. He was looking like a punk. He was going to, it was like pretty obvious that he's going to come out when he's getting 8 minutes, taking about 5 shots. That line was at 5.5 points. Super beatable. If you remember last season, Joel first quarter points would be at like 7, 8, sometimes 9.5 points for him when he was playing 8 to 10 minutes in the first quarter. I knew he was going to come out strong. He had to respond. He looked like such a punk. He did, right? And so that's what we bet on. There's nothing like that for me with LaMelo in the first quarter here to give me that kind of, push that I have an edge on that bet. So I'm going to leave that one alone. I am going to have the bottom line scrolling now with my leans. My bad. I didn't have that going. I'll have the leans up on the bottom line as soon as we get any. But let's see what else we have from this game real quick. We got B. Miller under on the 3s, Miles Bridges. All right, so let's start with Miles. Miles is going to be tough. So I believe he's still questionable, right? I'm going to pull up, I believe I have my Twitter account open. I'm going to pull up Underdog and see if there's any Miles Bridges news. Obviously, appreciate anybody jumping in the chat with injury news. Scotty Barnes is set to play. That came out 2 minutes ago, so that's interesting. Need to record that factor that in, I should say. All right, that's the only one that really comes up. So that means that we got Miles Bridges still questionable, right? Which I know I can see here, which is nice. Also, they got the injury report pulling through from RotoWire on outlier.bet. That is some smart work there by them. We don't have to leave the site to see that stuff. He's a game time decision. That's pretty annoying. That's kind of keeping me. I think Trey Mann is a bit more probable than he is game time decision. Let me just pull up the official NBA injury report real quick. It's just too important not to. Yeah, so Trey Mann is probable on the official NBA report. If you do need access to this, this is linked in the description of the video. All the tools I'm using got the links in the description of the video, so definitely check that out. If you do want to get into the VIP Discord as well, or the free one, I have links to both of those in the description of the video. You guessed it. So I think Trey Mann is a good look here. If Miles Bridges is out, the thing that would scare me about taking any unders for Brandon Miller is if Miles Bridges is out, right? So what's Miller? You said Miller, we had 3.5 threes, right? That is a really high number for him, something he has not done very often this season. How many is he taking, though? 9 to make 4 is quite an ask. 12, 11. This is better teams, but 11 of them going 4 for 11 is not that big of an ask if that's what he's going to be averaging on how many threes he's taking. I mean, he's at about 11 threes, right? Let me pull up B. Miller over here. This is where outlier.bet comes into play too. I like to see the averages, so I bring those up. Pull this in. All right, Brandon Miller got the threes right here. This will help me at least see what he's doing from 3. So he's taken 9.4. This is his last 10, I believe. Let me go to 2024. Am I on the under? Yeah, I'm on the under. So this is an EV bet that Free Sauce put in here too, telling us that if you bet this over time, he's not going to hit 4 threes way more often than he does hit 4 threes. This Detroit defense is pretty good against the 3. He is taking 9.4 on the season as a whole. We'll give him the small 4. He's kind of shooting guard either way. So yeah, they're second limiting shooting guards. I believe the spot up stuff is really good for this defense too, right? probably getting hella choppy. Feels like my shit's slowing down. Let me know if I'm coming in choppy, just so I can try to fix it if that's what's happening. All right, but if I'm looking at the play type stuff down here, yeah, he's coming off screens, spot up. They're all right. They're pretty good against. They're good at limiting transition. But he has taken 62% of his shots from above the break. They're not looking like too good of an above the break defense. Let me pull up. I'd like to see this a little bit more specifically on NBA stats. So I come here to opponent shooting. And I can look by zone, so I can see above the break a little bit more laid out, right? So if I come over here, I'm in above the break field goal attempts. I'm talking about the Detroit defense. They are giving up somewhere in the middle of the pack. Yeah, they're good limiting attempts. They're in the top like 12, limiting 3-point attempts above the break. What about the makes, though? Makes, not so much. So they're giving up a high percentage of threes on not that many makes. So their opponent field goal percentage is pretty high. Yeah, they're in the bottom like 5. They're giving up a lot of high percentage of above the break threes. That would be a good look for LaMelo, probably even more than Brandon Miller, right? So, I mean, Ben Miller's taking 62% of his shots from up here, but they're a little bit better against a spot up. They suck against the pick and roll ball handler. So that's why you would take them. You would be fading B. Miller and riding with LaMelo in this situation, right? So I kind of see where y'all are coming out from with that. He had 25 in this game. He took 23 shots, and he did have both Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller in this one. 26.5 might be a steal if Brandon Miller if Miles Bridges does not play, then 26.5 would be pretty good. Let's see for LaMelo without Miles Bridges, who doesn't have a tag on here, but that doesn't mean that it's pulling through. Yeah, so without Miles this season, he's at 34.7 points in the 3 games he played without him. And I would argue Orlando's not much different than Detroit in its defense, at least limiting spot up stuff. They don't allow shooters to just sort of stand wide open and shoot. And LaMelo took hellish. So he's taking a ton of shots. I mean, without Miles, he's looking at and Trey Mann in this one, but 27, 30 without Miles and 29. So he's taking like damn near 28 shots. This could be a LaMelo ball game, but I do need to know if Miles Bridges is going to play, and he's still listed as questionable / like game time decision. So that kind of keeps me away from wanting to bet on either of those dudes right now. I think if you're going under on the Brandon Miller threes, I think that makes sense to what Free Sauce was saying. The best number you can get, though, it's like pretty juice. So if you wanted it as a parlay piece, I understand it, but I'm not really trying to mess with that at that number, to be honest. So I'm going to be taking off the take off a couple of things from there. So I'm good on B. Miller. Look, this is where I'm at. Like, you don't got to bet every day. I know this is a betting show, and that's not what you want to hear. And this is probably not going to like make me more liked by too many people who were like looking for the next leg of the parlay. But I'm not just like a magic box that like spits out winners because I know what the future dictates. I like use as much research as I can and my own knowledge of watching the sport to bet on it. And if there's nothing here that I'm like, hey, here's an edge to bet on, then I'm out. Then I'm just not going to bet. Like, it just is what it is. All right. And there can always be value found. So if we can find it, let's fucking find it. All right. So I'm good on that. I don't think there was much else in terms of coming in from this game. I guess we should look at Cade maybe for a minute. We can consider that. Let me see if there's anything else in the chat from this game that I'm looking at. Here's an interesting point from JK. LaMelo is the league's leading fourth quarter scorer. He sometimes plays passively in the first, so it could be hit or miss there. But LaMelo points live bet at the end of the third quarter is a good look. If the books aren't onto that, there should be a little bump. I can see that. That's a really interesting look. I like that type of research, JK. I appreciate you bringing that. That's really easy to find, too. If we just go into NBA advanced stats and go to players, look at this sharp look that we're being brought. Appreciate that. So if I'm in players and I'm in traditional stats, I can go to advanced filters and filter this by quarter to quarter 4. His team also sucks, so he could be losing a lot going into the fourth quarter and like just doing everything he can to chuck up shots. He's leading the league in fourth quarter points alongside Scotty Barnes. Look at how bad some of the teams at the top are, though, right? Like Toronto's got 2 in there, Brooklyn, Cam Thomas Microwave. I don't know. Do you think Phoenix is good? I don't consider them a good team. Sac good. OKC good. Miami, who the fuck knows? But yeah, points per game in the fourth. That's interesting that he's there. And I think that's reliable data. He's taken the most shots. IQ's played 2 games. So like, I don't even think that matters. Let me get these people out of here who'd be playing like 1 game and had a good fourth quarter. Games played more than, let's say, 10. What are we at here? 15 for most people. You got to have played 10 games, bro. So yeah, he's leading the league in field goal attempts for people who actually are playing this season. Looking at you quickly. So I like that. For sure. I like where he's at, taking the most threes. I've got to imagine. Yeah, 3.5 threes. So he's to a degree is chucking, but it looks like his shots are still pretty good. Like he's at 45%. That's damn near going to lead most people. Hero's an interesting one too with his points. I like this look. I like being able to see that. This is live betting opportunities, and that's a pretty good look. I wonder if teams match up to that. Now you just got me thinking, and I'll get out of here and get to the next bet. But I like that. That's the type of like sharp stuff that the books aren't necessarily doing. They're just looking at average quarter by point, points by quarter, and just putting it together live. Points in the fourth. Yeah, Charlotte's not necessarily scoring more. Yeah, they're still in the top 11 scoring in the fourth. And so that's, something to keep in mind. They're probably also playing a lot of garbage time. So that's probably why. All right, let's keep it moving. Cade was a look. Raul was talking about Cade, rebounds and assists. Yeah, that's always a look, honestly. And I believe this team does suck. We should at least bring up Cade real quick. 22.5 on the points. This is a beatable number on the points. Like normally he's at 23.5. I think he's had some decently bad scoring games, and he's been pretty efficient. But I want to bring him up over here as well, because I want to see how Charlotte's surprisingly not ranked that poorly against centers. I don't know how that or why that is. 15.5, decently beatable number. If we look at rebounds and assists allowed to the PG, they're really bad for sure. They really don't have much perimeter defense at all, does Charlotte. I believe they've gotten a little better on defense, but still not great. What's their defensive rating? 19th, so it's still bad. Maybe it's better than it's been. But let me get back to this. So point guards and the RA, I mean, obviously we see what he's been doing this season. 15.5, that does seem low, because like this has been as high as 16, 17.5, and 15.5 as high as that is a pretty beatable number. This is his last 10. So he's got some really nice recent hit rate numbers, and he kind of just started going crazy on the dimes right about here. So I'm imagining his potential assists kind of skyrocketed. So they went from about like 13 per game to up to about 15, 16 per game in this last like 10 or so, right? And we couldn't see potentials against Washington, but he had 10 dimes against them. Super interesting. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good look. I'm not sure why that's so low in this situation. What did he maybe he didn't do it against them last time? Let me pull up Props Madness real quick. Looking at Charlotte 20. This is points, rebounds and assists. Yeah, I mean, this is within the time frame of him going crazy. He had but then Jalen Duren did leave that game, so we got to keep that in mind. But still, rebound chances have been 17, and then with Jalen Duren, he's still getting hella rebounds. This was the one against Chicago where he had 10 dimes, 6 assists. That's exactly the SGP that we put together. And he did have Jalen Duren in that game, still had 13 rebound chances. So if you give him 7 and 9, what's his assists at? 8.5, and the rebounds 8.5, 6.5. 6.5 juice to the over. So this means he needs 16, but they're saying that the rebounds are the thing that they're not giving him as much of a likelihood of getting. Right. So the implied probability that he gets 7 boards is like 48% or something. So the rebounds and assists were kind of getting gypped on, to be honest. What's the price elsewhere? Yeah. Kind of feel like we're getting ripped off, because the 6.5 is plus 112. The dimes at 8.5. What are those at? Minus 112. So they're basically giving us even money. Kind of makes sense, but I don't like the price, to be honest. I don't like the way that they're pricing this. When we look at that, like 14.5 would be a lovely steal, but 15.5, we might not have much of an edge. 16 on the season. Yeah, I know he's been going crazy as of late, and that's awesome, but the whole sample size still needs to be considered. I actually don't even know what would have changed right there as much. So I don't know what to do with that as much. I think it's a good look, and I can see the logic behind it with just playing the numbers as is. So yeah, and Charlotte's not a bad rebound team. Charlotte is top 10 in rebound RA allowed total. Yeah, bottom 10 in RA for opposing PGs. Right, that's what we were just looking at here. When you look at it on outlier.bet, you look at it against PGs, 26 in terms of rebounds allowed to that position, 22nd in assists, and then everywhere else. So you have to really sort of hope that, because they're not as bad rebounding overall. So you kind of have to just like look at it and go, well, is this position going to be the one to get it? I can see it. I'll put it as a lean for now. I would want to look into a few more things, but also want to keep it moving. So I'm going to put that down as the first lean. Minus 102 ain't bad. Let's see. Leans. Cade over 15.5 RA. Minus 102 is what we got that at. All right, let's keep it rolling. See a couple other games that we got here. We'll be looking at 80 PRA, JC. So let me go to that. What's the next game up? Oof, let's pass over this for a minute since we don't know about Scotty. We'll go to this game where we got some looks for Yaz and Spurs. So I think Zach Collins is still questionable. I don't know if he's had any update. I'm getting something right now. We'll have Scotty Barnes will start and have a minutes limit, though. So Scotty's on a minutes limit. That's pretty helpful to know. Okay. All right. So nothing yet, though, about whether or not we're going to see Zach Collins, who, let me go back to this so I can see if he's what RotoWire has him listed at right now. Let me pull up who was one of the people. Let's pull up Castle. Also, I didn't put this one. I wanted to look at Harrison Barnes rebounds. Those were super low as well, but also would love for Zach Collins to be out. I mean, even if Zach Collins is in, let me look at the injury report. Jordan Clarkson's also game time. Let's see. And then nothing on Zach Collins. So it looks like he's cleared to play. All right. So what does that do for us in this game? I am going to look at Castle, but let me go back over here and see what HB's rebounds are. 3.5. Now it's minus 135. Yeah. Don't love that as much, but I still think 4 boards is a super beatable number. He just had 14 rebound chances against OKC without Wemby, and we know Wemby's out tonight. Everybody that was out the other game, Sohan, Vassell, Wemby, all out. Those are dudes that would eat into Harrison Barnes' rebounds. So, I mean, potentially 5+ for Harrison is the play. Let me see if I can find a way to get this into a place that I would like it. Harrison. Let's see. Harrison on the boards. I mean, he's the starting power forward, man. Like, get some rebounds, Harrison. 3.5. So you can get minus 130 on DK, the alt line here. So for him to get 5, you can get plus 155 on DK, plus 144 on FD. So most people could get that. I kind of just want to sprinkle a half a unit on that, to be honest, but more than anything, and just see what we come away with, because he's only gotten 5. I mean, 4 is the really beatable number here, and that's, to me, mispriced. He played 32 minutes in this last game without Wemby, whereas he was playing more closely into the 20s, but they don't have anybody else to get rebound. I mean, they got Sandro Mamukelashvili, whose name I'm very good at pronouncing, one of my sort of party tricks. Sandro Mamukelashvili will be coming off the bench. How many minutes did he get last game? Either way, I like HB on the boards. Let me go into that last game real quick, because I know Zach Collins ended up not getting his PRA, I believe, for those of y'all that were betting on that, which sucks. But let me see. That game was Tuesday for San An against OKC. What a win. What a victory for the kids. All right. Looking at who played how much. So Sandro only played 5 minutes. All right, maybe we're not going to see much Sandro. Of course, that was because the team he was playing doesn't have a center, and now they're going up against Utah. They kind of have a center. That's right. The other bet I really need to look at real quick again. So I like HB on the minutes and the boards and the rebound chances. I think that all makes sense. So if he's out there predominantly with like this core and then Keldon, like he's the biggest dude out there. So I think Harrison Barnes, I'll put that on the bottom line for right now. HB on the 5+ rebounds, I think is just how you play that. Like, fuck messing with the minus 130. Although, I mean, he's been getting 4 boards with everybody in, including Wemby. So, but that's why I just like the 5+. Harrison B, 5+ Rebs, plus 155 on DK. I think that's worth 0.5 U. I do. All right, I'm going to add that. All right, that's on the bottom line. The other one I do like from this that I wanted to bring up before I keep going into what you guys were talking about was my boy, Flip, who I don't have time to say his full name every time, but Flip Filipkowski, 5.5 boards. The assists are at 2.5. That's where we're getting a bulk of our value on a, this is gone. 17.5, huh? Nasty work. All right, I still think we take over on that. I think in this game without Homeboy, without Wemby, 17.5 are getting crazy, but I still think this is super beatable. In these last bunch of games, yeah, still going over, but let's look at since he got inserted into the starting lineup because Walker Kessler has been hurt. I think actually he didn't even start this game because Walker played this game, but we'll still do since he started balling. Because in this game, he had 10 rebound chances and 11 potential assists in 25 minutes. And that's when they were like, we can't keep this kid on the bench anymore. And then Walker Kessler gets hurt and he's in the starting lineup. And now, if you look at the last 6 games, he's averaging 20 PRA. I still think this is a beatable number. And the only reason he didn't go over here is like AD. I mean, that's it. He played 25 minutes, was not a good matchup for this game. They had Dalton Connect in at the 4. So that means that he was, really just out of place, man. So they kept him on the bench, and they had Jordan Clarkson in there who was hooping. I think he gets back to getting his minutes. 24, 28, 30, 23. So that's not super reliable. But I like Filipkowski. I do think that he's good. I mean, he's an underrated passer. He didn't have a chance to even do anything. He did have 6 assists, which is interesting. Just didn't have a chance to score in this game. But I think he'll be good to score against this defense a little bit more. I'm going to put him in as a lean for now and keep him moving. I think we've gotten to the point too. If anybody has football bets, like please, we can look at it. But we're looking to take advantage either in unders on receiving, I think, or overs on rushing. But let me put Flip. I'll put Filipkowski because not all y'all know what I'm talking about. Quick reminder: give the video a like if you're getting anything out of it, and the pinned comment on the YouTube page will be we'll have the bets that we go over here that I put in the leans. Filipkowski over 17.5. PRA. This was at 16, so that's gotten nuked. I was probably onto something and then didn't bet it, which got me in trouble. That's fine. Sometimes you miss out. It is what it is. I got him on the bottom line. Let's look at John. JC. Obviously, don't like taking multiple people. 18.5 is a lot of points. Obviously, down low is going to be a lot more available. Spurs defense is still good, though. I mean, their defensive rating is 8th in the league. They just had a really nice game and a nice win against OKC where they held them to like 106, right? So yeah, I mean, it's not like they're pushovers even without Wemby. They still had some really nice defense in the last game. He against the Lakers took 14 shots, got 18 points exactly. What are his boards at these days? 8.5. So he's been going under. Maybe that's kept it. It's still 8 on the season. Obviously he's been getting more minutes without Walker Kessler, but not really. Still at about 30, 31. So there's nothing really beatable there for me, to be honest. Getting some alerts, which has to mean some updates to the lineups. Let me see this. Trey Mann's playing. Miles Bridges ruled out. And then a bunch of Friday shit, but that is helpful news. So we know, let's use what we know real quick. We know Scotty Barnes is on a minutes limit. We know Trey Mann is in. We know Miles Bridges is out. All right, so let's go back to Charlotte. Let's go back to the track. Look at my check. Wasn't no scratch. All right. LaMelo and B. Miller, because Miles is out. I would like some Trey Mann stuff, to be honest. But man, LaMelo is a fine now. Is it not? Like, this is without Bridges, 3 games. Pretty similar defenses. What is this team in assists allowed? Assists allowed, they limit assists the 8th best, does Detroit. Their defensive rating is 9th. This is going to be bully ball for sure. Like, I think this is going to be a more defensive matchup than we're giving it credit for before we just start slanging overs out here. What did he do last time that they played? Let me do without Miles. So Miles was out there and he scored 25 and he took 23 shots. But in 3 games without Miles, he's taking 29 shots. They're 29, 30, and 27. Over in all 3 of those right there. Without Miles, Orlando's a good defense. I think LaMelo is a play without Miles. Even with Trey. Well, Trey was also missing in this Orlando game, but still. 27 shots. Get into the lane more. What are his threes at? 3.5. Oh, juiced way down. Okay, so screw that. So they really think he's going to get 4 threes. One thing I like to do too in this situation is be like, all right, well, what's his points at? It's at 26.5. So let's filter this by way of his 3-pointers, where we're going. Okay, it's not 49.5. It's creeping up though with the Miles Bridges news. So this is going to come back out on other Bucks at 27.5. I think we should consider that 27.5 with Miles Bridges out. How many times has he scored over 27 points when he hits 4 threes, which they think he's very likely to do? So let's say 4 at least 4. This is going to be a nice number. So 80% hit rate, averaging 31. Let's say 4 to 6, not 9. Still 7 of 9. 4 to 5. So if he hits 4 to 5, 28.5 points, a little bit less of an edge. He's got to hit a lot of threes, obviously, but they do think he's good to hit 4. In all the games, he's hit 4, which is 2 of them, right? Averaging about 26.5. So it's not like we have much of an edge of him hitting 4 and 5, to be honest. He's got to hit a bunch more than that. So it doesn't really work here. Sometimes you'll find that when he gets 4 threes, he's like going to hit at a 90% clip, but saying 4 threes when he can, it's not the same here. So I still think LaMelo is a good look here in this one. For those of y'all trying to play over, Brandon Miller, obviously a little bit scarier of an under with even the threes. Once you consider that there's no Miles Bridges, and I don't know if he's played without Miles this season. Yeah, I don't think he's actually played without Miles because he was missing for a bunch too. So yeah, he's got a couple games without Miles here. This was 8 points against Orlando, but once again, Orlando limits the spot up as well. So yeah, I don't really like him. I would be fading Brandon Miller if you're going to do anything with him for sure. I'm 18.5. And this is going to come out. This might get high enough for us to fade, to be honest. If this comes back at like 20.5, now we got something to work with. Let's see. He hasn't played that many games this season. He's averaging 16.7. Obviously, a 29 against the Nets. Congrats. Games without Miles Bridges. And okay. And then one of these, yeah, he was missing man in this one. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I'll be fading Brandon Miller. I don't know yet what quite to do with this info without Miles, because 26.5 is still high against a good defense for LaMelo. They're not as good limiting point guards up top who are going to be shooting like he is. So it makes sense that you would go for his points, not his assists. Not quite anything there for me. So let's look at with Scotty in, but on a minutes restriction. First thought is, can we fade him then? 16.5 points, 4.5 dimes, and 5.5 boards. But these are all in what? 35, 37, 36, 26. So he's doing all this in big minutes. And if he's got a minutes restriction, which the exact wording is, let's see, Scotty Barnes will play. Scotty Barnes, where's this? Will start and have a minutes limit Thursday. It doesn't tell us what it is, but let's say it's 25 minutes, right? Let's go to the PRA. And maybe the points is just a play, to be honest. He can barely, like, it's his eye, right? So, like, can he see? Just try to be real. Like, kind of need your depth perception to shoot. Like, if you don't have one of your eyes, then so the points would be the lean for me. Everything's mad low. You can see, like, it's kind of scary to take it. So PRA would be 27.5 in 35, 72, 108, 134. 134 divided by 4 is 33.5 minutes. So 33.5 minutes, he's getting 27.5 PRA. So 27.5 divided by 33.5 means that he's getting 0.8 PRA per minute. 0.8 PRA per minute. So 0.8. I know you can't see what I'm doing. 0.8 times 25 minutes is 20 PRA. 0.8 times 30 minutes is 24 PRA. 0.8, I'll do 0.82. You see what I'm saying here? Like, if he's getting 0.8 PRA per minute and we have him on a minutes limit, is this not too high? I say again, yeah, this is too high. Under 27.5 on FanDuel. Minus 111 is a fucking play. That's why you pay attention to math, fellas. That's all I'm saying. So, all right, let me, I'm putting that out. I love that. If he's on that level of a minutes limit, I didn't even remember who they're playing. They're playing the Timberwolves. Come on. That's a good defense. I don't know if they're good or not. Fuck the Timberwolves. They suck right now. Not fuck them. That was mean, but they do suck right now. But they're probably good enough to keep Scotty Barnes in 25 minutes. That's 20. According to what he's been doing. This is a slow game. I love this. I'm playing that. I'm playing Scotty Barnes under 27.5 PIA. We're adding it. All right, stand by. I think even 26.5 PRA is playable. Minus 111 FD. Oh, God damn it. All right, cool. I love that bet. I love that bet so much. I want to take him behind the dumpster and get it pregnant. To 26 and I'd play this at 26 and a half, just so y'all know. Playable to 26 and a half. All right. Love that. All right. Minutes limit. I mean, we just did it, right? 27. What's he averaging? Oh, did I do this wrong? No, I didn't. I did that right? I did do that wrong. Oh my God. Hold on. 0.333. It's 1 per minute. Still an edge. It's 1 per minute. He's actually averaging 1 per minute. I did that wrong. Apologies. I'm glad you guys couldn't see it, but I still think 1 per minute is a beatable number. So I did that slightly wrong, but that's still doable. All right, cool. Let me get back to it. Yeah, no, for sure. I know that they get run together, but it is a dude that he trusts to shoot being on the floor. If man was out alongside Brandon Miller, now we'd be cooking. Or not Brandon Miller, but Miles Bridges. Then we'd be cooking with something a little bit more there. But Trey Mann will at least eat into his desire to his need to shoot even more. Just like if he looks over and he's like Grant Williams in the corner or a step back three, right? But if he sees Trey Mann on the wing, he's like, that dude can do something with the ball, more likely to pass it. That's kind of where my thinking is with it. LaMelo Ball, Trey Mann. If Trey Mann's playing defense, those are dangerous. Honestly, if LaMelo Ball ever played defense, which he's capable of, that would be a nasty backcourt for real. All right, yeah, we're going under on Scotty Barnes. I think he's probably should be projected at about 25 and a half. So 27 and a half is a really nice edge that we get here. And I like that Pinnacle has it 1 point less and the same odds. So it's a pretty nice edge. Pinnacle is a much more trustworthy book than most of the other ones that you see there. They take sharp money. What else might that impact? Do we get a little bit of a value on guys like RJ or even Dick, perhaps? Valuable Dick, maybe? 14 and a half, minus 110. He's kind of gone. Obviously, Dick's gone up and down recently. That one wasn't even on purpose. So there's something to that. Watches the viewers just drop out of the stream with every Dick joke. All right, I'm getting blown up again. So that means there's more news that I need to check. Maybe it's football though. Don't bother me with that right now. Yeah, and it's all Friday and that stuff. But Trey Mann to play, so whatever. All right, does that affect anything else? Gonna try to roll for another like 15. So if y'all do have any more bets that I haven't been paying attention to, just hound me in the chat. I'm happy to take them. John Collins, I didn't have much of an edge for, so I not really looking at him. D'Lo on the assist was interesting at a low number. The thing that keeps me coming. The thing that keeps me away from betting on this Magic Lakers game is the Magic defense, bro. It's just been absolutely filthy. Maybe it doesn't travel as well. Maybe you don't think it's been playing as good of teams, and I understand that. Let me even just bring up my notes real quick because I'd rather just I already wrote this shit down. Here's Orlando's defense. I'll even just bring up my notes. I don't give a shit. Here's Orlando's defense lately. Second slowest pace since Paolo went down because more Goga equals less possessions. 6 defending players coming off the screen. This is also why I was like, do I bet on Dalton? I don't know. But 6 off screen. Second slowest pace since Paolo went down. 9th versus transition. They let you take pull-up threes, right? That's what I was talking about with Modi the other day. They do not let you take catch and shoot threes. So that's why pick and roll ball handlers do well against them. But just looking at the last 11 games that they played without Paolo, excuse me, last 11 games, all without Paolo, they are the number 1 defensive rated team, and they're playing at the 3rd slowest pace, 96.8. They're an under machine. The Lakers in the last 11 games have also slowed things down. And if you look at them in the last 10 games, and as you creep closer to the last 5, things get slower and slower for LA. So right here, we're at 14th in the last 10. You dumb this down to the last 5 games for LA. You look at the pace, even though they're undefeated, they are 22nd in pace now as they've gone 5-0. So there's something to the Lakers not playing as fast and being better. They're 5-0 with a slower pace. They were, what are they on the season? They were 5-0 versus 5-4, right? So 5-0 versus 5-4, play slow, win. not play slow, 500 record. So that's what scares me about taking too many overs in this game. Maybe you think that leads to AD doing a bit more because they're going to be in the half court. I'm not totally sure. Maybe we're finally seeing LeBron James slow down a bit for the first time in his career, especially since he's been to LA, and save himself a little bit. And he was the driving force of that fast play. Maybe D'Lo not being in there means less transition. Definitely means better defense for this team. So that's what scares me. I think at 216.5 total tells me the books are very much like, nah, and the sharps especially too are. This isn't going to be your normal Lakers game. This is going to be closer to like 210. Right, 215 in that range where they might be used to playing 230. That leads me to be scared of a few different bets in this one. AD would be where I would go. This is kind of one of the things I'll say, like AD points would be where I'd go, mostly because his averages are very high. And I mean, let's look at him versus opponent pace. Let's put the opponent pace to much slower. Let's do like bottom 10, essentially 20 to 28. So against slower paced teams, he's still averaging 32.5 points per game. Let's look at what they're pretty good versus his play type stuff. So let's see. They are third versus his shot zone. Let's just look at defensive rating. Let's look at how teams that are good at defense, how they play him. So let's put them in the top 10 and see how he does against those teams. So 2 of those games, right, were against 2 of the top defensive teams in the league. This one was a blowout, so do what you will with it. He still had 22 against them in 31 minutes, and he's normally playing about 35 plus. 32. So these are, 39 versus Detroit. I guess you still consider them good, and then he crushed this team. But yeah, so we look at him versus Memphis and Cleveland. Those defenses, I would say, are a lot more like Orlando and definitely, much more in the as good range. Let's look at teams that versus his shot zone and where he's shooting from, because this team is good down low, right? They are third, limiting him where he wants to shoot the most. So let's look at top 10 versus his shot zone. So Memphis isn't in there. Cleveland is. But yeah, you look at his unders, and it's versus teams that are slow and good at defense, although Cleveland a little bit fast. But this team is very slow, right? Let me look at pace real quick. I like the slow pace part of this for sure. The slow pace does tell you that he's good when they're in the half court and not having to rush as much. And what's he doing here? He's scoring mostly off free throws, pick and roll man. And they're good versus those. Where he's shooting from down low, they're good, right? Taking most of his shots. So it's a good defense, but this is where I'd be going. I still think maybe you're getting some value here at 26.5. Minus 102. Actually, Pinnacle has this at plus 103. So this might even go down to 25.5. I think that's a really good play, to be honest. So I'm going to put AD in here, and I'm going to tell you if AD gets his minutes and if he gets down to 25.5 is what I'm stumbling over saying, then I think that's a look. So I'm putting AD in here as AD over 25.5. I know that's not the number, but if that comes up, then I think AD over 25.5 points. And I will say, minus 120 is about, off the top of my head, I would need to do more math, but off the top of my head, minus 120 is a playable number at 25.5 points for AD. So I'm putting that in there for right now. I saw a football parlay that I'd at least like to give some attention to from Carlos with the Browns and Njoku receptions, Elijah Moore receiving yards, and Jaylen Warren over 12.5 receiving yards. Love the Jay Warren look. I think we should be looking at running back receptions. I love the parlay that Prop Holiday put out. Let me pull it up real quick. My guy, I love what where he was at. He got nasty with it. Prop Holiday, where you at? For y'all, those of y'all guys don't know Bobby Stanley, Prop Holiday. He's one of the homies. Love this dude. He was like, yo, let's go with the snow, sleet, rain. So he brought up under 24.5, which is an alt total on the game. Obviously a nasty boy total. And then over rush attempts and yards for Jerome Ford and over rush yards for Najee Harris. What is this? 325 to 1. Love that. I love just taking some under 24.5 points and just pairing it with all this really correlated stuff. This is great. Yeah. I love this. I also love his last tweet from Kirk Evans where he's like, the shit side. Anyway, not going to get into that. But yeah, I think that's a pretty fun look right there, to be honest. I do think we should be looking at the running backs and their receiving here. I also am I crazy that Jameis is still going to throw the ball 35 times? Right? That's disgusting, Carlos. Absolutely gross. You're watching the game, just being like, be less entertaining, so I win money. Like the less the less entertaining this game is, the more money Bobby Stanley will make tonight. I love how much of a curmudgeon he is with it, dude. He's a sicko. All right, let me look at the. Let's bring up J Dub. Let's just do this. I have this is a nice thing about this too, is you can save your filters. So I have these, like, I just want pass, rush, receive yards. So I just get like what I want. And I have it all over. So I don't get a million different things. Oh, actually don't even have it all over. I should change that. So just over is what I want to know, just because I don't need to look at the under. I know that the under is the same number as the over. So just show me the over. The over here, let me get to the game. My bad. Get to this game. So we just have rushing, receiving, passing for this game. So let's start with like Jerome Ford and I just want to start here. You talk about Jalen Warren. You had him for the receiving, right? Yeah. So I like that where your head's at with that, Carlos. And that's kind of how I feel about Jerome Ford too. Also, Jerome Ford's rushing is probably way too low. Wait a darn second. This man had 56% of the snaps last week. Hold on. Let me go to one of my favorite NFL tools, which is Player Profiler. And they do a great job of showing you a lot of stuff. So what I want to know for Jerome Ford as I search for him, and the really a lot of these awesome tools are all they're all free here on Player Profile. You can get a subscription and get some real in-depth shit, but you don't really even have to. The stuff I'm looking at here for Jerome Ford. So I want to go to his game log real quick. Is it down a little further? Game log. So last week, 54% of the snaps, rather. His carries were at 5. Nick Chubb was at 11. He ended with 39 total yards. What was his rushing last week? I forgot already. That's the only annoying thing. It gives you total yards. I don't know why it doesn't give me just rushing yards game by game. But let me go just stat music real quick. I'm sure someone in the chat knows how many yards Jerome Ford had last game. But this season, so this was, last week against Saints. So he had 5 attempts for 10 yards last week. Don't love that. That is why it's low. But I mean, do we not have to give him like a few more rushes? Like a few of those plays that were passes last week will probably be rushes this week. So I think the yards for Homie are good. It was 2 yards a carry against a bad fucking Saints defense. And now he's going up against a good fucking Steelers rush defense. Like literally, like New Orleans is what, 31st in rush EPA. Steelers are 8th, I believe. So yeah, the rush, maybe not. All right, but let me just get back to the receiving, because they just always give us such sexy lines with the receiving yards and the receptions. 13.5. Why didn't I just look at it on Outlier, yo? Am I getting made fun of for that? Idiot. Obviously, it was just right there in front of me. I was looking for his rushing. My bad. I'm stupid. So the receptions, he had 4 last week. Like, if you think Jameis is still going to throw the ball, which I still think he is, I just, if you don't have success running the ball, even if it's a monsooning on you, you have to throw it, because you can't get any yards off the rush against this team, which I don't think it will. They don't get any yards. They don't get any push with their offensive line for the Browns. Their offensive rush EPA is terrible. So yeah, like I don't like any of that. I guess I kind of just switched over to football, which I'll give another like 15 minutes to. So yeah, I'm like all the receiving stuff I'm kind of out on, other than running backs and like short stuff. I did say Jerry Jeudy potentially, just because he's been the favorite target, but are they going to be able to really complete stuff in 20-mile-an-hour winds? Let's just see. I have to go to weather.com real quick. And look at, this is basically over Cleveland right over here, right? This is Pennsylvania, I believe. And then you got Ohio right here. So this is just dumping right on Cleveland right there. All right, let me pull up. I just was searching it, obviously. 3 times I've searched it, apparently. Hella weather alerts. Wouldn't even matter if this game was in Pittsburgh. It would be right next door, and it would be getting shit on too. So what do we say? Where's the weather? How do you use weather.com? Fucking idiot. All right, here we go. So we got a ton of snow right when the game kicks off, or at least snow. I don't know about a ton, but you're getting an inch in the past next 6 hours, 1 inch. Not too bad. That's a flurry. Let's not be soft about this. but it's playing in the snow. What's the wind at? The wind is really obviously, I think, what we care about the most. Y'all, I need somebody in here to help me use this stupid fucking platform that's changed a million times in the last like year. Can I get, all right, hourly? Thank you. Excuse me. Sorry for my outburst. Hourly, 8 p.m. is what I care about. 11 miles an hour, 13 miles. Yeah, anything around 15 miles an hour, dog. We're getting into some nasty stuff here, right? 10, 13, 14, that's windy. So I don't really, I think like under on the, let me separate these real quick. I think under on the wide receiver stuff is there, but I just don't think that means that Jameis isn't going to pass the ball like short. Like I would, that's what I'm banking on as sort of my game script here, is that he's doing that. My bad. I think I did that wrong. Now I'm not showing you NFL anymore. Oh, my computer is mad at me. All right, let me keep this here and move this off from the NBA for a minute. Go back to NFL. We don't need the hourly forecast. We now know it's dumping, nasty weather all over the place. So, all right. So, Jaylen Warren and Jerome Ford are the ones I'd be targeting on receiving, like receptions, receiving yards. I would say Jaylen Warren even a bit more, mostly because I know that, not you, Pat, get out of here with your ugly face. Jaylen Warren even more. What's his receiving yards at? Hella low. Yeah, this was a part of your parlay too, Carlos. Love the value. Why wouldn't he be thrown to his running back? Just did it against another team. And by the way, pressure on the quarterback, that is what the Browns are third in, right? What are the Browns doing against? Oh, they're fourth, limiting receiving yards to the running back. I don't give a fuck. We're talking about over averaging 15.5, over an 8 of 10 in his last 10. And on the season as a whole, he's only actually played 8 because of injury, but still over in 6 of 8. Might have even left in one of these games. Let's see how many receptions, targets did he have in this? Yeah, the Chargers game, I believe, is when he got hurt. So was still hurt also right when he came back, then got hurt, blah, blah, blah. So now we're talking about 3 receptions. This is at 2.5, and the yards are there. What do we like better? Is this 2.5? For plus 128, probably would like him to scamper a bit more. Yeah, I think the yards are a better play, even for the plus 130 for the receptions. 12.5 is the play. That's the strong lead. So I'm looking at Jaylen Warren. I like him even more than that. That's what I'm saying, right, Preston? Like, I like the name that was come up for him. The name that was come up for him on the fantasy footballers, where they, instead of check down, they call it a chuck down. Because if Jameis needs to check down because he's under duress, he's just going to heave it downfield and chuck it down rather than check it down. I like that name for him, but that would hurt us with Jerome Ford, right? But he is the receiving back. And I think there was a look, I think it was Hannah Not Hannah in the, by the way, is this Hannah Not Hannah? Let me know. Because I'm just thinking about how there's a Sopranos picture in the Discord. I'm just putting this together now. But you were talking about Chubb under receiving yards. And I like that. But yeah, this is where I'm at too, Carlos. So I like where you're at. I like your Njoku stuff. Njoku still has a pretty good depth of target. That's another thing I'd like to see up here on Profiler. If I go to Njoku, if y'all weren't familiar, and this is link is in all that football videos, I put the link to this in the description of those videos because this is a super helpful free platform that really breaks down once it loads this stuff here. So like target shared, all this stuff is really helpful. But where's his ADOT right here? Okay, it's 4.3, so it's not that great. So yeah, his ADOT in terms of his average depth of target, how far is he running downfield before somebody throws him the ball? That is very low. So it's not. I think he's also a good play to your point. I knew it, man. You can't get anything by me except for the past like 6 months of my life. But 6 months later, I'm gonna figure shit out. All right. What am I looking for here? So I like Jaylen Warren. Let me just put that on the bottom line. I like the tight ends. I also know I got to roll because I do want to get a bet in this Charlotte game, and I'm going to be looking a lot more closely at LaMelo. And unfortunately, I'm not good enough at multitasking to be able to do that. So I'm going to put the NFL bets on the bottom line as well. I'm mostly looking at Jaylen Warren. I'm kind of considering the Jameis over 34.5 pass attempts. It got up a little bit. It opened at like 30, and that was a wonderful number. But all right, putting this on the bottom line, and that's going to be what's up on the pinned comments on the video. So appreciate everybody giving it a like and jumping into the stream today. Going to be back tomorrow on Friday with full NFL or NBA stuff. We'll have NFL video coming out tomorrow. Got Dieter back on the show for player props and touchdowns coming out Friday, Saturday. So that'll be NFL stuff. NBA, same concept. Friday at least, and Saturday should have a video as well. But looking to get a few more of those things in. Check the video on YouTube for the pinned comment with the bets that we made from this show here, and hope to see y'all tomorrow. If you do want the VIP Discord, last thing while I got y'all in here, got the link in the description of the video as well, so you don't miss any of the plays. Pretty reasonable prices, but let me know if you wanted to get in and you were like, I don't want to pay this amount of money, but I'd love to jump in. Maybe we'll talk about it. All right, I appreciate you guys. Talk to y'all tomorrow, hopefully. Until then, happy betting.